Happy lunar eclipse in Pisces. Hey, Erica. Hey, Jessica. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Excited to see y'all. How's the eclipse treating you so far? I'm about 5 minutes late. That's how mine's going. It was one of those mornings where you feel like, of course, I've got a deadline. I need to speed up. But every time I tried to speed up, it was like I'm tripping over something. I'm forgetting something. I'm about to knock this little thing I got going on all the way over. So chill, slow down, take an extra minute to center and pray. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm haunted. I'm haunted by not being heard before. Please let a sister know if you can hear me. That would be great. It would be great because we got things to talk about when it comes to this lunar eclipse. Got the full moon now. We got the new moon coming in 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Erica. Thank you so much. It was like, oh no, if I'm about to go off and if spirit is about to just start going, I do not want to miss this. So today's full moon and truly both eclipses have something to do with letting go. But this one in particular, because this is the lunar eclipse, the full moon, something coming to completion or crisis, depending on where you are on the spectrum. Is there something coming into a big spotlight in your life? A big, possibly even a new beginning that comes via a revelation. This particular eclipse, there are several layers of meaning. It's on the Pisces Virgo axis, which is, Pisces, what does our soul want and crave and what is it made of? And Virgo, how do we make that practical in the real world? How do we work that, right? There are layers of meaning in this eclipse that speak of the ability to create something concrete, something tangible, something real from our imagination, from our soul, from our vision. The ability to take an idea, make it tangible. We've got, Virgo sun, the Pisces full moon connecting to each other. We have Saturn and Neptune in conjunction. Saturn is very much how do we get things done in the real world in a certain time with certain steps, maturity, discipline, consistency, the willingness to show up even when it's hard, right? And then Neptune, our dreams, our ideals, our literal visions, right? Intuition, channeling ideas, all of that sort of thing. These are the themes that are coming up. And there's this idea because Saturn is making a friendly angle with Uranus and Pluto. Uranus creates quantum leaps, genius, sudden progress. It's a disruptor, right? And if you think about a disruptor in the tech industry or something like that, disruption isn't always a negative thing. A lot of times it brings a lot of attention. A lot of times it can create a ripple that changes everything from then on. Things like technological advancements, where it's like nobody is, a precious few people are working with a VCR nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Once we make a leap, we only go forward from there. And there's this idea with these configurations that when we face the limitations that we are working within, like, yes, I can't magically get out of this job overnight, or I can't create more time in a day, or I have to face that I'm caretaking this person and that's always going to be a priority. So if instead of wishing, which can be a Piscean, Neptunian, like fantasizing about, well, but if I didn't have this is what I would do. But you do. You are working with that limitation. So how can I work within that limitation and innovate using the fact that I have to knock up against this limitation? So how can you make your limitations allies for you, or at the very least, like a wall to bounce off of? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like if I tell you to write a short story. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. If I tell you to write a short story, some people have an idea right off the bat. Other people will be like, oh my God, I don't have any fucking idea. But if I tell you, okay, well, here's one thing is it has to take place at a municipal swimming pool. Well, now you have something to work with. Now you have a parameter that you can work inside, and even that limitation can start sparking off ideas. Well, what would happen at a pool? Blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I'm saying? So don't fantasize and try to escape Pisces, Neptune, whatever the Saturnian limits, the not so sexy fun parts of life. whatever limits they are putting in place, what if you look at them through the lens of, this is for me, not at me, not to me. This is happening for me, not to me, not at me. I'm supposed to bounce off of this. I'm supposed to make something of this. Spirit's being very literal and punny with that phrase. I'm supposed to make something of this. So you have a vision. And what if, Virgo South Node thinks, what if it's not perfect? What if it is messy? What if you let it be? Would it be a lot easier to start making your creative thing or to start executing your idea if you made sure to let yourself know that it's okay for this not to be perfect on the first run? Because if the first book you ever wrote or the first video you ever made or whatever was the best thing you ever made, that would be pretty fucking sad, right? Like, I peaked and then it was all downhill from there. Like, no, the first one is not going to be the best one, and that's how it's supposed to be. So why not embrace that? You can make something fucking amazing. We've got the solar eclipse that's going to be coming up in a couple weeks. And that's our new moon. So you could kick something fucking really off if you decided over this waning moon cycle, what can I release? What expectation of perfection? What excess stuff around me and in me can I let go of so that I'm better able to flow into, again, Spirit is showing me like a river. There are boundaries, right, and walls around a river, and that's part of what makes it rush powerfully forward. That's what they're saying. So, okay, embrace it. Embrace it to the extent that you can. Hey, hey, El Kabong, welcome, welcome. Happy to see y'all. Let's get into the daily forecast. Spirit kicked us off with some great info for the eclipse. And now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Remember, it's a waning moon cycle. Releasing, letting go. There's a lot of different kinds of release. One of them is like tears. You know what I mean? One of them is, Spirit is saying this now, full moons are also typically times for, if you need to banish something, if you need to extra help, extra spiritual or energetic punch, dropping a habit or whatever. And one of my favored Virgo Pisces practical magic in the truest sense rituals when I'm doing any kind of banishing, when I'm letting something or someone go, I acknowledge how important that shit was, or else it wouldn't have been in my life in the first place. Even if I have grown to hate it, right? It had a place there for a reason. So just like if I was writing a goodbye letter to a great love that I was needing to let go of for very good reasons. Be like, hey, you know what? We had some wonderful times. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. This was a wonderful part of our relationship. If we hadn't been together, I couldn't have learned this, that, and the other thing. Next paragraph. And this is why I need to let you go. You were extremely manipulative. You were blah, 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 blah. You got extremely vicious, whatever. Or, habit, you drain my life force. You make me feel less creative. You take up too much of my time, whatever. And this is why I need to let you go. So thank you so much for what you've given me, the lessons and the benefits. And now, goodbye. You're making it really clear to yourself. And I really encourage you to write the letter. Not just think about it, not even type it on a computer, because there is something about the slowness that it takes to actually write something that it really sinks in, it really integrates. And eclipses do be eclipsing things. We don't necessarily need to push anything forward, but it's like, if I've been wanting and willing to release this up till now, why not make it official? That's what they're saying. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be some interesting energy. It's going to be a bit of a ride. Make sure to take time to chill out. Drink a lot of water. Take a nap if you can. It's always high energy. All right. I said we were going to get into the day-by-day forecast. Let's do that. We'll start with today. Since it is the day of the eclipse, Spirit, we would love your high and loving perspective of the flow of this week. Sun cycle by sun cycle, Spirit. What do we have to look forward to? The potentials, the pitfalls, the good, the bad, the ugly, Spirit. We want the truth because we know the truth helps us navigate in the best possible way. And what do we need to know for our highest good? Ease, abundance, peace, fulfillment, spirit, to understand the message. These cards want to jump. To understand the message of this eclipse, to use it to its best advantage. What do you want to share with us this waning moon cycle? Wednesday, they want a bunch of cards. Okay. You the boss. Thursday. Friday. Okay. And Saturday. Let's see what we've got. Oh, yeah. Why is it always Monday? It's always Monday. I mean, we know why, but my goodness, it really is consistent. Okay. 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 Wow. Definitely, definitely some clearing out energy. Definitely some, what I kind of really hear, one of the phrases that I'm hearing is embarking on a quest. A lot of night energy happening here. All right. Let's talk about it. For today, Two of Swords, King of Pentacles. Don't stay stuck in your head. Remember what you have working for you and work it. It's like plan your work, work your plan. You know what you're doing. A King of Coins is the king of their skills. You could also be dealing with somebody who has this vibe to them. Could be because it's a King of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, that kind of energy. Very practical. I'm feeling also very straightforward energy. And that would be part of the solution to breaking through this Two of Swords. This is just what it is. It reminds me of what Spirit was saying about working within the limitations. Like, we can innovate if we will actually choose to work within the limitations. King of Pentacles, King of Coins here, knows exactly how to work with the limitations and make them work for him. So Two of Swords, what Spirit is saying is, what have you been holding back because it's not perfect? The idea is not perfect, so I'm not ready to, like, initiate it, start it, show it, even begin to work on it. Like, it has to stay up here pristine. That's not going to work. Grab the clay and start working the clay. Start doing stuff with your stuff. If you're putting it on a shelf for when you feel smarter or more brilliant or more capable, Spirit is actually letting you know you're pretty capable. And especially if you will take all of the guidance from this Virgo Pisces eclipse and say, like, if my soul wants to do it, how do I make that practical? How can I do that today? This shouldn't be anything that is like, oh yeah, sometime I'm going to do this. This should be something that, even if it just began with research, I could begin to make progress toward my goal right now today. I don't have to keep it in here. Now, okay, I want to say also, what they're saying is you need to trust yourself more. You're probably yardsticking yourself. You're probably comparing yourself to something or someone, and that may be holding you back. Okay? So, King of Pentacles. What if I am actually, something that they're saying is, what would a confident person do? Maybe you need to practice it till you master it. That's different than fake it till you make it, right? Practice it till you master it. Try that. Okay. Monday. Boy, oh boy. Listen, if we have to have a Ten of Wands, I'm happy to see it followed by a Six of Pentacles. What Spirit is saying is actually it might be worth it. Like, literally, financially, the hard work may be worth it. And you may find that out on Monday. So, first card up, Ten of Wands, taking on way too much. Look at this sweet little thing. She is so tired, but her hard work has also had a lot of yields. So, take a break. Can you take some PTO right now? Like, could you try to take today, like, take tomorrow off if at all possible? There are fruits to your labor. Six of Pentacles is repayment, replenishment, and repayment is actually the word that they're saying really loud. So it could be that you receive some money that is kind of unexpected, and it's like, oh, this person or this place did owe me this, but I either didn't know about it or wasn't expecting it at this point, and it's just like a happy little boon. Okay, I want to say also with the Ten of Wands that it's a full moon, it's a lunar eclipse. Things are very high energy right now, and eclipse energy is probably most acute on the day of the eclipse, but oftentimes it's the days preceding or the days following the eclipse when the something comes into your life, because you have to think about the personal timing of your own chart. Maybe this moon will be, aspecting some very specific things 2 days after the fucking eclipse, and suddenly things are at a 10. I want to say that it's completion or it's crisis, and either way it is calling for your attention. So if you're bringing something to completion, make sure that you actually kind of like close the book on it and, give yourself the pat on the back, or the kind of, what Spirit is saying, closing ceremony, so that it's like, I need to let my brain know that when we wake up tomorrow, we don't need to get up and think about this anymore. Like, this is done. This big chapter, something that Spirit is saying is like, they're showing me somebody helping like an adult transition into being cared for in a facility. It's like, it could be that kind of chapter where it's like, oh my God, this was such a long and difficult chapter of like finding out someone's diagnosis, taking care of them through that, and now getting them into this new place. And now it's like I'm starting a new chapter, and I really kind of need to blow that breath out and start fresh. And now, as I put it like that, Spirit is saying the Six of Pentacles in that way could look like karmic returns, like getting the financial or even just support that is in return for all of the Spirit is being very funny. They're saying like, you've been making a lot of deposits. Some of you have been making a lot of karmic deposits, and it's like it's going to be finally time for like a withdrawal. Okay, so that looks really wonderful to me. Look at all the bounty that she's enjoying, and also look at kind of the posture where it's like, for me, so you might be shocked at money and gifts falling from the sky, perhaps in repayment for all of your efforts. I feel a lot of selflessness potentially with that. That's not for everybody. This is a general reading. There are some people that it's like you're working your ass off. There's some people that it's like you have a creative project that's finally going to launch or be published or whatever in the next day. That's the beauty of general readings. You got to trust your own intuition and follow the through line for your own life. So, Tuesday. Appropriately, Tuesday. So, first card up, the Hanged One. Having your world turned upside down and being somewhat forced into a new perspective. There's an aspect of surrender to the Hanged One where it's like, this is outside of my control. I am hung up by my damn ankle in a tree. I don't have a lot of power right now, and I need to acknowledge that. It's not weak to acknowledge when we don't have all the power in the situation. Let's harken back to what Spirit said at the beginning of the reading about under these auspices, Saturn, sextile, Uranus, and Pluto, it's time to work within the limitations and innovate within those limitations. So, that's exactly what the Hanged One does. He's got his hands behind his back. Or in this case, in most cards he does, okay? You can't see, right? The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing in the biblical sense. You don't know what's going on. This could also be referring to those karmic returns. There's things happening that you don't even know about yet, and it's not negative, not necessarily. You may be delayed. You may be forced into surrender. Sometimes Spirit knows better than we do what the right timing is. So, if you can gracefully surrender to this and again say, how can I make use of this? A lot of times if there's a delay, it's like, actually, I thought I wanted this to happen sooner, but because I seized the little bit of delay I got and edited a little better, took one more look at the thing that I was working on from a new perspective and went, oh my God, this, and added this great new line or this great new chapter or this great new conclusion or this whatever. Take the delay as a bump. That's how Spirit is putting it. Take it as a bump from Spirit. Like, hey, we're trying to help you. We're helping you like double jump in a video game. You're getting a double jump. That's what they're saying. So take it. Second card up, Two of Wands. Taking your Hanged One moment and surrendering to working within the limitations that you, the delays, etc., the lack of control that you are currently under. Two of Wands says you could take a whole new approach. You're at a crossroads. You could, if you have this new perspective, make a new decision. Spirit is saying you might see another way out. You might discover a whole new path that, you wouldn't have discovered if you'd been strolling through the woods, whistling to yourself, and you got yanked up by a snare into a tree. Like, well, I don't like being yanked up by my ankle into a tree, but I can now see a trail that I didn't know about. And now I know if I go, a quarter mile southeast, I can get to where I'm trying to go in a much better hurry and with a lot fewer threats. And that's just something that I'm hearing. So take the delay, or even the breakdown is something Spirit is saying. And like the way that they're showing that to me is like a car breakdown. It's like, okay, maybe that was the only way for me to be prevented from getting into a fucking car accident. Fucking showing up at a place that I didn't need to be, where something was going down that I didn't need to be there for. Take it. Listen, you can call it delusional, you can call it spiritual. Everything happens for a reason. There are no accidents. We arrive at the places we need to arrive at the exact time we need to arrive at. So if you are delayed, if you are deferred, try to accept it as a new path opening for you and be curious. That's the word that Spirit is using as I look at these two next to each other. Try to be curious. What is the universe showing me? What are they asking me to do? What are something they're saying is reminding me of? So you could have an experience, which often does happen during eclipses, where it's like, here's this pattern again. Here's this big life event that rhymes with this past life event. What now? What, with that information, will I do with this new situation? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now next, Wednesday. This was where these cards were jumping, and Spirit wanted 3, so Spirit gets 3. Wednesday could be quite a big day. Looks pretty gorgeous, actually, so if we have to have a big day, it should be a beautiful day. First 2 cards up. The Lovers and Strength. Double major arcana means pivotal events, right? Means things that, again, might feel a little bit outside of our control, might feel like, destiny intervening, eclipsing things. We had the 2 of Wands, and now we have the Lovers. A choice. This or that. They're both tempting, but one really agrees with your body, your mind, and your soul. And that is what these 2 cards have in common if you were to put them into a Venn diagram next to each other. My body, my mind, and my soul. The lion and the lady. No part is rejected. I don't reject my rage. I don't reject my depression. I don't reject my sensitivity. You don't get my emotional intelligence or my intuition or my compassion without my sensitivity, right? So I don't denigrate the fact that, like, oh no, I'm so sensitive. No, like, that's a feature, not a fucking flaw. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a person who maybe experiences anxiety or depression, you don't get your brilliance, your ability to make fast connections, your ability to problem solve on the fly without having those fast turning wheels. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't mean that your anxiety is a gift. I don't mean that, oh, you're so lucky that you have this anxiety, you should be grateful. I mean that you are a whole person. You are not slices of things that, like, I don't like this and I do like this. I should never be anxious. I should always be this, that, and the other. Like, you are whole. You are whole, and you should make decisions like you are whole. Like, there are all parts of me. Something that Spirit is saying about this, again, Pisces, Virgo eclipse, the ideal, the visionary, the Pisces, the dream, and then the reality, the little details, the trees of the forest, right? I have to do this. The body, the mind, and the soul have to all be down for the fucking journey. A lot of us want to take a journey that, like, our body isn't willing to go on, or even our heart isn't willing to go on. Like, well, my mind says that on paper, if I do these things, I'll be successful. Now, mind you, I have to be miserable on the way to becoming successful, but one day I'll be successful, so it'll be worth it. Take all of you with you. Make decisions to the extent that you can, working in within the limitations that you have. Make the decisions that take all of you into account, and life will blossom. Life will blossom. It may look shockingly different. Let me show you the 3rd card. Life will blossom. 8 of Pentacles. Joyful work that makes a lot of money. Work that grows your skills, that grows your money, that grows your confidence in yourself, that, consistency over intensity is something else that I hear with the 8 of Pentacles. Is like, I show up and I put in my work. I'm not telling myself I have to go to crazy great lengths. I'm saying, Virgo, I'm going to organize myself. I need to know what my steps are, and then, to the extent that I can, make it a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like as many things as possible that are, I don't mean literally automated, I mean brain automated. I mean that you don't need to use your random access memory. You don't need to be constantly calculating certain things. They can be in the hard drive. Mondays, I do this. I have this goal. This is how I'm working toward it. So I don't have to obsess about it. I don't have to keep analyzing, trying to figure out the plan. I've worked out the plan and then I execute the plan. So that's what they're showing me with the Lovers and then Strength and then the Eight of Pentacles. Listen, we live in strange, very acute, intense times. When times are extremely polar, it is like when you have a death in your immediate circle, a friend or a family member or something like that, and suddenly things get really stark. What matters really fucking matters, and what doesn't fucking matter at all. And so you start making moves in a way that is probably a lot more body, mind, and soul aligned. No, my body doesn't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? All of you has to be on the same side. And that's what they're saying about this energy. So, really care about and that I want to see or feel or experience before this life is fucking over. Or while this chapter of fucking, I'm broadcasting in the United States, while this chapter of of American history is going on, this is what I want to be able to say that I did or that I have or that I got. So, take your body, your mind, and your soul with you. And if one of you can't go, then you probably need to sit and have a negotiation. I'm not saying that you can't make it happen. You can. There's ample evidence that people can drag themselves over fucking broken glass and get to success. Let's refer to all of the countless, gorgeous, rich, beloved, talented, intelligent, etc. celebrities that opt out of life because despite all of their talents and the fact that they're beloved and this, that, and the other thing, they don't feel it in their mind, their body, their soul. They don't feel it. They can drag themselves over broken glass. You can do it. I just wouldn't recommend it. Okay. Now, related. I'm hearing not at all costs when we come into Thursday. The Devil and the King of Swords. The devil is not Satan. It is not evil. It is nothing like that. It's that would actually be the exact wrong kind of approach to take to this because things like that make you want to be scared, make you want to say, that's the opposite of me. And really the devil is about the parts of ourselves that we might reject, the parts of ourselves that we may be enslaved to, addictions, poor relationships, toxic environments that we feel like I can't escape, but really it's just the cost of escaping seems higher than the cost of staying. And that's something that Spirit is saying. So if you are a person who's feeling that right now, where it's like, well, yes, I am in this toxic relationship with this person who lies to me and controls and manipulates me, but better the devil I know than the devil I don't know. I would say no. I'm hearing a few things. Again, these are general readings. Combined with the King of Swords, one thing that I'm hearing is like bad boss. The King of Swords, you know, if we were to put the King of Swords in the Venn diagram next to the devil, it's like abuse of power. It's specifically like mental abuse of power, a person who manipulates other people with their words, a person who uses their ability, you know, perhaps their like higher intelligence or they're more cunning. You know, Spirit's funny. Listen, like J.K. Rowling can like roll off a cliff and fall into the void and everything. But what Spirit is saying is like Slytherin because it's those vibes. It's like very intelligent, but like extreme, like using their intelligence and their cunning for like the worst possible, just manipulative. I just feel like manipulative. I feel like liar. You know, using words, kind of trickster vibes with the King of Swords and the Devil. So again, that does not apply to all of you, but that is what is coming up for one sect. For others, it is you need to be the King of Swords when it comes to the devil. You need to be very honest with yourself. King of Swords, you know, he's carrying a sword. He cuts through the lies, he cuts through obfuscations, he cuts through bullshit, and he is extremely honest. So the one, you know, whether a King of Swords is reversed or upright, at least he stabs you in the front. And Spirit is saying, you want to face the shadow with honesty and be sort of relentlessly honest with yourself. So as an example of the person who might be in the relationship with somebody and they're like, I want to get out, but also like, I don't want to be single, or like, oh, but dating is horrible, so maybe he's not so bad, or whatever. Spirit's like, you need to be really fucking honest with yourself. And let's jump back to the previous message really quick and say, is all of you all in on this? Is all of you all in on this? Or are you dragging a part of yourself over broken glass in order to be around this person or at this job or whatever? Because, like I said, bad boss was one of the things. So, if you have anybody around you who works their words like that, I would just take extra care and I would practice very clear communication. And I've said it before, if you meet the King of Swords in the external, it's because you are meant to recognize and resonate with your inner King of Swords. So it's kind of like, don't bring a cup to a sword fight. Bring your sword. Be willing to have clear discussions and get to the bottom of things and really sort things out. No pun intended. Oh my God. Now I'm mad at myself. No pun intended. Okay. Now Friday. I feel an overwhelming sense of facing fears. 8 of Swords, Knight of Wands, on a quest. That's something that I'm hearing when I look at this night. And then, spoiler alert, we've got another night coming up the next day. So I feel very questing energy and having to face up to the lies. What I'm hearing very specifically is the lies that we may have been telling ourselves. 8 of Swords is insecurity. I got a lot of reasons not to go. Come back to that devil and the King of Swords. I got a lot of reasons not to go. This is the only job I have, or like, this is the only person that's ever loved me, or whatever. All false. Because that is something implied by the 8 of Swords, is like these swords are not as strong or sharp as you think they are, and there are not as many as you probably think they are. In the classic version and here, you will see that the figure is blindfolded. So they are not really seeing the accurate picture. They are too afraid to look at the accurate picture. So let's come back again to, if you find that you are faced with shadow, doubts, worries, fears, if you have to presume or assume or like extrapolate anything, have a clear conversation. Do not be coming up with your own conclusions, because it seems like, as often happens, like, fear is a strong biological imperative. If we have the feeling that we're going to be hurt or get into trouble or be seen as deviant in some way, we're probably going to hold back from doing something, even if it really matters to us, even if it's really important. Okay? Spirit says, Knight of Wands, what's your why? Knight of Wands, what are you passionate about? No, you're not at the end yet. Yes, you might feel like, where am I going? Like, but I don't know what I'm doing. 8 of Swords. There's this, there's that. I doubt this. I doubt my ability to do that. I doubt anybody wants to see this or hear this or experience it. I doubt. Knight of Wands says, what's your why, though? Is the fire more powerful than the mind? Is the why more important to you than all of the things that could go wrong? They could laugh at me. I could fail. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe nobody sees it. Maybe nobody understands. Maybe whatever. Maybe. But when you transition out of this life and this plane and go to the afterlife and watch the movie of your life, are you going to be proud? Are you going to be happy with what you see? Because I think that you will be happier with what you see if you see yourself going for something, even if you stumble, even if you fall, even if you quote unquote fail. There, Spirit is saying something real poignant, which is like, there's a lot more heaviness to the feeling of coming into, leaving this life, stepping into the afterlife and going, fuck, I wanted to be courageous that time. Shit. It's like you suddenly remember. Like, and it's better to have been courageous and then been, smacked up, right? Maybe you stand up for somebody on the bus and you get swab-apped in the face. That temporary swab-app is worth knowing in your soul that when it comes down to it and things get crazy, I stand up for what I believe in and I take care of people because that's one of my values. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be to be able to stand on your why and bring your fiery wand when you're in the darkness, when you're in the face of all these insecurities, right? I could have plenty of insecurities around doing this, around being a weirdo on the internet, around letting the wild-ass leviathan that is the internet, the public, just come into the space, say anything, express anything that they want to. Sure, we all have insecurities. We all have fears. We all have doubts. We all have things that we'd rather we're going or looking a different way. And my why is more powerful than my fears and my doubts and my insecurities around this. My why for I want to connect with people, help people, remind them that their struggles have meaning, that they're going somewhere. That's more important to me than, oh, I hope they don't think I'm ugly. You know what I mean? Who the fuck cares when I bring my big why next to it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So when your fears come a knocking, bring out your big, beautiful, fiery why. Bring out your fiery heart. Turn the light up. That's something that Spirit is actually saying. We're very powerful beings. I am low key trying to like teach you all fucking like little tidbits of practical magic while we're on these streams. And what Spirit is saying is when you get into a moment of doubt, into fear, into, you know, maybe you're right about to do something and that paralysis kind of comes, which is if that feeling of the Eight of Swords is like, I want to. Like and what Spirit is showing me is somebody standing like right on the edge of doing like a cliff dive into like a big beautiful cenote. Like you're about to jump into this beautiful clear water, but you're just like, fuck, but it's so high. It's so high. You know what I mean? And you can freeze on the precipice. Um, but it's going to be a big, beautiful jump. You're going to be happy that you jumped. You need to know your why. Keep your why close. Okay? Okay. And Saturday. Big sword energy. I feel like there might be a conversation between you and a family member or someone who feels like family that could be a little bit contentious. That's just the first thing that I'm hearing. So, our cards for Saturday, the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Two sharp motherfuckers, right? Two extremely sharp people who both think they're very right. What Spirit is showing me right now is like, and this is not, again, for everybody, but what Spirit is showing me, hey, hey, Veronica, welcome, happy to see you. What Spirit is showing me is like a girlfriend and boyfriend arguing. And maybe, you know, in this case, let's say, and this is the way that they're showing it to me, is like the queen is a little older, right? So maybe she's a little more mature than this guy, or she has a few more years, or whatever. But they both staunchly believe that they are right, and there can be a bit of a clash there. The other way that Spirit is showing it to me is the age differential or maturity differential, as the case may be, between the queen and the knight could be like the mother and child. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that I need to explain this to you again. Spirit says this a lot, but what they're saying is this is like the proverbial, oh yeah, mom, I need 300 cupcakes by tomorrow at 7 a.m. And they tell you that at like 8:30 p.m. the night before. Like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? So there might be a little bit of a abrupt, unexpected, unscheduled, like now I have to go do this, like a departure, a detour. That's something that I'm hearing on Saturday, where you end up having to drive somewhere that you weren't expecting to. That's how Spirit is showing it to me. Oh, this person needs me to pick them up or pick up something or go somewhere, and it's a little bit contentious, it's a little bit annoying. So maybe you have to step in for like a younger sibling or cousin or friend or something, and it's like, ugh. Or alternatively, of course, you might be the knight. No, never forget, you might be the knight who's like, oh fuck, I forgot to do blank, and now I have to ask, you know, this mature, awesome, very like head on their shoulders friend of mine for help, and I just know they're gonna give me the stink eye. I just know they're gonna give me a little bit of a lecture while they help me. And they will help. That's what I hear, is like they will help, but yeah, you probably are gonna get a little bit of a lecture if you happen to be the knight in this dynamic. Which one are you? The other thing that I would say when I see these two together is, even if it is inconvenient, even if it's not what somebody wants to hear, the truth is always the best. Always better to be punched in the face with truth than to be stroked with lies. Okay? So tell the truth, even if it makes somebody a little upset, not happy. You know, even if you are the knight and that's the queen, better to tell mom that you need the 300 cupcakes than to show up tomorrow and then deal with the consequences, because mom will be really pissed when the teacher calls and says, so you were supposed to bring 300 cupcakes, what happened to that? You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. It's eclipse week. Ooh, things are already wildin'. All right. I hope that that helps you to surrender, to work within the limitations, and to not take them as signs from the universe that you're not supposed to do your thing, or that it's impossible for you to do your thing. It's more than anything, okay, well, here's your training montage. Here's the sequence where you start working your skill and we watch you in condensed time get better and better and better and more capable and more ready to meet the opportunity that is being offered by this eclipse. Eclipses do fated realignments. You know, it's like, well, if you're this many degrees off, then this needs to happen to get you right back on path to where you were trying to go before you got here. When you helped design your own chart, right? When you plus spirit designed your chart and said, well, this time I want to be creative, or this time I want to be a warrior, or this time I want to be intelligent, or whatever, and you came here to be that, and if you have fallen off in any way, the eclipse, whether it's good, bad, ugly, fun, not fun, it helps you get back onto the path that you intend and that is in alignment with your soul. Okay. Now, let's get into the elemental forecast. Let's start reading for all of the signs. And this week we'll start with the water signs. We'll start with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Remember to check your sun, moon, rising, or any sign that you have like personal planets, Mars, Venus, Mercury, etc. Those will also have messages for you, and the message will get more comprehensive and make more sense if you take them together. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Spirit, we want to know what is the theme, the overarching energy, what you want the water signs to bring their awareness to for their highest good. Beautiful. And what about when it comes to money, projects, skills, income, opportunities, spirit, things that we are building or growing? What do Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces need to know? Beautiful. I feel like I'm going to have to like put post-it bikinis on some of these cards, and that angers me. It angers me that like we can watch somebody fucking get their eye dug out with a rusty spoon in a movie, but I can't put a titty on a Three of Pentacles card. That can't happen. We live in a strange fuck-ass society. Not post-it bikinis, man. Okay, all right, I'm back. It's a full moon. We're emotional today. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We're tuning in for the mental climate, the kind of messages, the words, the thoughts. What is the climate? Love to see it. How about the emotional realm? Feelings, relationships, connections. What's happening in the realm of the cups for Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces? Okay. Ooh, I hope you're getting treated well by this eclipse. It looks like it so far. And one more, Spirit. Let's look at their energy, their drive, their creativity. What's lighting them up or firing them up this week? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty fucking revelatory. Ha! Yes. So, overarching theme for the week, the sun. Hey, I'm so fucking sorry to hear that, Miss Phoenix. I am so fucking sorry to hear that, and I hope that the sun comes up on this. I hope that this eclipse realigns some things for you. The sun is coming up for the water signs. Love to see it. Being myself, acting like myself, feeling more like myself. Spirit is using the word abandon, but they mean like with wild abandon, dancing with abandon, singing with abandon, like just living with abandon. And they're saying that's part of the strange times that we're in, is that again, more and more it seems like, well, why hold back? Life is strange and short, and like certain freedoms and certain benefits and resources can get stripped away at any time. I should enjoy the fuck out of the ones that I have. So with the sun, I feel like really celebrate yourself. I also feel like rebirth day, and it doesn't have to be your solar return, but you could make it feel like one. I'm choosing how I want to be reborn this week. I'm choosing who also best supports me in that. Post-it bikini, motherfucker. It's a beautiful card. You should enjoy it, but I'm going to have to put a damn bikini on it. Okay. Three of Pentacles. Groups, collaborations, working with people who can see your vision. Really beautiful energy here. Spirit is referencing um, a quote from Oprah and talking about that for a long time in her career, her worst fear was people saying she was full of herself, right? And I'm not talking about like, oh, we're going to make this reference because Oprah is a perfect and irreproachable person. No, that's not what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking about one quote that is relevant to this moment, which is she used to worry that people would say, oh my God, she's so full of herself. And then she came to a realization that it's like, yeah, I'm actually at my best when I am full of myself because then I can pour onto other people. I can give because I'm giving from the overflow. You know what I'm talking about? And Spirit is asking you to give from the overflow. As water signs, you tend to want to give to the last drop, and that's not on the table this week. And it shouldn't be. And it shouldn't be. You should be prioritizing enjoying yourself, pleasing yourself. Nine of Cups. Yeah, I fucking did that. Yeah, I did. I can kick back and really enjoy what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. 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 This is mine. I made this. I want to do it like this. I don't really mind if anybody else wants me to do it like that or not. This is what I want to do for me. Kick up, enjoy, invest in yourself. I'm even literally hearing invest in your pleasure. Now, interpret that any way that you want to. But literally, something Spirit showed me was somebody buying themselves a fancy fucking toy, if you get my meaning. Like, invest in your pleasure. Invest in enjoying yourself. Invest in living with abandon. You know what I'm saying? In the best way. I mean, in the way that lets you be the wild, real you. That's, again, what part of these acute times are doing, is making people go like, well, fuck, I don't like that. I like this. I want to do it like this. I want to experience that. This contrast is showing me I'm not like that at all. I'm actually like this. Embrace that. Use that. Enjoy that. No, it's okay, Veronica. We'll be back. Thank you for being here. Also, water signs, you don't have to go hard. I feel like that's part of why you're getting collaborate. You do not have to do it all yourself, and you shouldn't be. That wouldn't be pleasing yourself. That would be doing for other people, right? So, let the people that you know can support you support you. Take the breaks and the recovery that you need. And some of y'all might need some serious recovery where it's like, maybe last week was really fucking hard. And that's part of why this week is like rebirth day, abandon, I need to recover, I need some assistance, I need to focus on pleasing my fucking self, filling my cups, okay? Nobody else can fill your cups the way you can because only you know the number and shape of your cups. It's lovely when other people do it, but we got to be the first ones. We're responsible. It's nice when other people do it, but we are responsible for filling our own cups, okay? And I feel like the water signs either know that most or need to know that most depending on where they are on the water sign spectrum. Okay? Okay. Take care of you. You're the priority. It all happens because of you. If you're not there, then it doesn't happen. Okay? Okay. Two of Wands. The rest, the collaboration, may give you a new vision. And this rhymes with something that Spirit was saying at the beginning of the reading about looking at the limitations or the boundaries that you are working within. And instead of fantasizing or imagining your way out of them, going in the Pisces direction, going in the Virgo direction of like, how can I make it happen right here, right now? Saturn conjunct Neptune. How can I make my dream tangible? How can I begin? You might have a new idea for a new way to go. So prioritize your joy because that is probably what gives birth to, oh, I could do it like this. I'm having so much fun even imagining and talking about, again, collaborating right with other people, talking about this, imagining this, that this idea pops in. And it wouldn't happen if you were not prioritizing your rest and your joy and filling your own cup. Okay? Okay. With much love, water signs, take extra care. It's a full moon at any time. The water signs are going to be highly affected. Moon pulls the tides, Natch, right? But in particular, it's a Pisces lunar eclipse, so it's definitely aspecting whichever planets or points that you have in the water signs. Take it easy. Be gentle with yourself. As much as you can, make space and room and quiet for yourself to receive to be in repose, Four of Swords, right? To receive what is trying to come through. And Spirit is like saying, it's like allowing yourself to be like chiropractically adjusted. You have to rest, you have to completely relax, even though like, oh my God, I'm about to get readjusted, but you have to totally relax, and then boop, and oh my God, I feel way better. Or, oh, I can walk straighter now. So, we're going to the cosmic chiropractor. Let it happen. Okay. Let's talk to the fire signs. Let's go right over to the opposite elements. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This week of the waning moon. The waning from the lunar eclipse on our way to that new moon, that solar eclipse. Spirit, what does it serve the fire signs to know this week? What is the overarching theme for them, and what points do you want to serve them in order to help them create the map? Big fire energy, okay? Let's talk about money. Let's talk about projects, income, seeds that we are cultivating, skills that we are growing. Wow. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Now, how about the realm of the mind? Oh, music always helps. Music always does help. Let yourself go into a bit of a trance and just float away on that. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What about the mental climate? What kind of words or thoughts are they sharing? That was so funny. I was going to say, or not sharing, as the case may be. I picked this guy up. That's really funny. We'll get into it. Okay. Aries, Leo, Sag, when it comes to their feelings, their relationships, their connections, the realm of the heart. What do you want to share with fire people for their highest good? And finally, let's go to their own element, spirit. Their own fire, drive, creativity. Okay. Pretty powerful stuff here, fire signs. First card up, Emperor. You're in control. That's what the Emperor is communicating. And if there is an area of your life where you don't feel like you are in control, then it's time to make some adjustments. I don't mean controlling other people. I don't mean controlling situations. I mean that when it comes to your own skills, your own time, your own emotions, etc., you are at the center and you are in control. You know what your boundaries are. You know what your values are. Everything that you build is on those values, right? That is the Emperor at their most powerful. I feel like I get this dichotomy as I'm looking at your cards. There's something that needs to go, but there's also something that you need to stick it out with. And this is where I have to re-empower you, fire signs, and remind you that this is a general reading. So you're going to have to know, what is it that I know I can't carry anymore? That I need to pick up what I can, cut my losses, and move on. If I'm going to be in control, if I'm going to run my life the way that I want to, is there an area of my life, and this is how Spirit is putting it, where I'm being dishonest? Now, of course, you could go all the way to the most extreme end of the spectrum to like lying and like maliciously lying to people. But this could also just be, I tell myself that I'm okay with this, but I'm actually not okay with this if I'm honest with myself. I'm actually not okay that every time my significant other is in a bad mood, I have to bear the brunt of it and just act like it's okay. I'm not okay with that, actually, or whatever. Be very honest with yourself. And ask yourself if you're carrying anything that you don't need to be carrying. Is there a battle that you are in that isn't yours? And what Spirit is saying with, the Seven of Swords is about leaving the battle. And when we put that in a Venn diagram next to the Emperor, it's like there are times when retreat is the wisest and most effective tactic. There are some battles that we can't win, right? where we can't change a person's mind, is one of the examples that they're giving me. You know, what they're showing me is a couple. And this is not going to apply to everybody, okay? But this is the way that they're showing it to me. They're showing me a couple that is fighting. And it's like one thinks that if they just say how they feel enough, the other will come to that understanding. And it's like we can't, that is something we can't control. Whether that person ever understands or has the capacity to, we don't have control over that. So we may have to decide, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't want to carry this shit, and that person is not mature enough to even understand that I'm carrying it for them. You know what I'm saying? It's very specific, but there are certainly some fire signs that need to hear it, or spirit would not be hammering home so very hard on it, okay? Now, let's talk about some straightforward, juicy stuff for a second. If you build it, they will come. If you plant it, it will grow. If you work it, your talent could become a skill. It could make you money. It could bring you resources. Okay? So you might get a little bump in your income. You might get a gift from somebody, or you might just get spirit is using the word urge. And it's like, oh, I've had this keyboard in the closet for months and years, but I just got the urge to pull it out. That is also a skill, right? That you can work. And like what Spirit is saying is a joyful skill. This is something that you really want to grow. Spirit is also showing me somebody doing voice work. Like they're showing me somebody sitting at home with like a fancy mic with the filter in front of it, and they're like practicing and doing voices. That's just something that they're showing me. So it's like, if you are passionate about it and you want it to grow and you are willing to put in the work, the Emperor puts in the work. The Emperor knows what the structures need to be in order for this Ace of Pentacles to grow. Maybe it needs a trellis to climb like tomatoes. You know what I mean? The Emperor is going to make sure to set things up so that things grow exactly the way they want to and need to. And Nine of Wands, when they were saying, what's something that you've wanted for a long time? Perhaps you've been working at it for a really long time. Here's how you're going to know the difference between the thing that you need to stick it out with and the thing that you need to accept needs to be let go or at least adjusted. Like, I can't carry all of this. I've been putting too much on my fucking plate, and I need to like cut a little bit off and go. This pretty much has no passion left. This still has your heart. This still sets you on fire. This idea or this project or this goal still lights you up. Even this relationship. You know what I mean? Because there's some people where, this is the nature of general readings, you can always get a personal one. I'm never trying to advertise, but if you want to go further, you should do that. Because what I'm hearing is, for one sect, this is where the cut and run, cut my losses is related to, is a relationship where things are unfair or unbalanced, or there's dishonesty involved on one or both partners, right? And for some, and you'll know it by your own life, this is actually the thing that you want to stick out. Because yes, it hasn't always been easy. There have been moments of difficulty and struggle, but ultimately we love each other. We're in it for the long haul, and we're going to make it work. You know what I'm saying? So which one are you? And the way you know it is if there is passion, or if it's like, nope, it is cold and dead in here. It is arid and dry in here when I think about trying to make it work with that person or whatever, right? And remember, the Two of Cups could be romantic, but it could also be like a creative partnership, a business partnership, or even like a best friend. It's a one-on-one deep connection, right? Or at least full of potential. So, you know your life. What rules, Emperor, do you need to set in place this week so that the things that you want to grow are growing, and the things that you want to get out of your way are cleared and make way for you to do more of what you want and need to do? I feel like some of this has to do with refocusing your efforts on yourself, as opposed to perhaps maybe some of you have been very invested in another person, or even in like it's this one way that they're showing it to me is somebody who, like, I have a full-time job and I have a side hustle, I have a skill, I have a thing that I'm working. I feel like it needs some tending. I feel like I've been putting a lot of effort maybe toward my corporate job or my 9 to 5 or whatever it is, and like I need to make sure that I'm making time for this Ace of Pentacles, because if I ever want this Ace of Pentacles to grow, it needs me, right? And it needs my daily consistent effort. Okay. I hope that that's helpful, fire signs. Quite intense energy, but it's an eclipse. We expect nothing less. Now, why don't we talk to the air signs? Let's move on over to Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Dominant People Spirit. What is the through line for the air element this week? And what do you want them to know when it comes to money? Their work, income, jobs. Okay. How about their own element? What kinds of words? What kinds of thoughts? Communications? What's the climate? And the realm of the heart. What's going on in the feelings? What kinds of feelings? What kinds of connections do you want to highlight for the air signs? And finally, what is lighting up those air signs, Spirit? What's going on with their energy? What is their energy level? Where is that energy being directed? Gorgeous. Okay. Air signs, the first thing that leaps out to me as I look at your reading. Hey, Lexi, Fernando, welcome. That's not the first thing that jumps out. The first thing that jumps out as I look at your reading is strength, number 8, 8 of Wands. Whenever we have a major and a minor arcana resonance, like a double up of the numbers, things are really kind of highlighted and doubled down. So I'm hearing again something they were saying earlier. When you take all of you with you, yes, my presentable human, light side, as well as my wild side, my rage, my creativity, my witchiness, my whatever, everything that is not necessarily socially acceptable. Not us when we're showing up at a, somebody's fancy wedding and on our best behavior. No, you're a wild thing. We forget because we live in buildings that we are nature. We are animals. We are a wild thing. And when we divorce ourselves from our wilder aspects, we lose some of our fire, some of our creativity. Again, we don't get Edgar Allan Poe and all of the beauty and the genius and the depth without depression. You can't have one without the other. We are whole. Do you know what I'm saying? So to other and to blame a part of ourselves. Oh, I hate how anxious or depressed or yada yada or mad that I get sometimes or whatever. Instead of that, embracing yeah, I'm a really passionate person. Yeah, I feel a lot. Or yeah, I think all the time about everything. I am that kind of person whose wheels are always turning. Embrace yourself. Appreciate yourself. Know that we are living in a world that is giving us such a weird false sense of societal expectations and levels. And what Spirit is showing me is the heartbreak of when you see lions and tigers forced to jump through fiery hoops at the circus. That's what it is to be told to you need to be successful as a human being. You need to be cool. You need to be normal. You need to be fuck all that. You need to be you. You're going to get all kinds of messaging about that, okay? All kinds. I can't tell you that, that's going to let up. It's not. But this says, when you act like you, your whole self, and you embrace that you are a whole self, a lot of opportunities and a lot of movement and a lot of, I'm hearing the word connections also can happen really fast. And one of the ways they're saying this is oh gosh, I feel like they're showing me the plot of something and I'm trying to, okay, I'll give it to you the way that I'm seeing it. Have any of you seen the movie Network? And if you haven't, you should. I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't. It's from the 70s. It's not necessarily everybody's up on that shit. It's a really fucking excellent send-up of television and advertising and public information and the dissemination of information and what it can do to people. It's really funny. It's really dark. It's really prescient. And so, without giving away the movie, You need to see it. You need to see it. Trust me. Network. You won't be sorry at all. You won't be sorry. It is like an hour and a half or whatever, extremely well spent. So, without giving away any of the movie does center around people who make the news, television news specifically. And there is a news anchor, and he's kind of, been at it for a while. And he's old. He's kind of, vanilla. He's kind of tapioca pudding. And the ratings aren't what they used to be because he's old and he's not the new thing. He's not young and hot. He's tapioca pudding. But one night, the man goes off the fucking rails and on live television is saying everything that he thinks about everything in a very honest way, and people love it and they go nuts. And I'll just say that network predicted Fox News. Network predicted cable news as we know it today. The conglomeration, all the things. Enjoy it. I'm just saying, go enjoy it. But my point is about you, is that when you actually go off the rails, when you actually show this is what I really think, this is how I really am, this is what I'm really about, things can actually start moving a lot faster for you. So if you've been playing it kind of cool and aloof, as air signs are wont to do sometimes, to be distant, to be chill, to not be seen, to not be wild, to not be too fiery, right? I feel like if you start sharing what you're really about, how you really feel, your whole self, things will start moving really fucking fast. So I encourage you to be a little bit like him in the sense of like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to be really honest and just see what happens. I'm just going to be really honest. Oh my gosh. Okay. They're giving me one other thing, air signs. They're giving me the plot of another movie. They're showing me Office Space. This one, my millennials, my Gen Xers will probably be more familiar with. But the reason they're showing me Office Space is, again, you don't need to know the whole story. There's a guy, he's miserable in his job, it's monotonous, it's day in, day out, and he wants out. And a girlfriend tries to help him by getting him a hypnosis session. And something happens, and he's accidentally only hypnotized to the point where it's like, you no longer care about any of this. We were going to go deeper than that, but hypnotist has a heart attack and dies in the middle of the situation, right? So he's just left with, you don't care about any of this, and all of this is extremely chill for you, and you don't really mind. So that guy goes back to work and is really saying to people like, I don't really care about that. Or like, nah, I'm not coming in tomorrow, I'm going to be sleeping, or whatever. And upper management is like, oh my God, he's a genius. He's a maverick. He's a rebel. He's a leader. You know what I mean? So being your true whole self, even if you think some of it is not palatable or is not socially acceptable, that could actually result in a bunch of new connections and opportunities, and even a new community or group of friends or just a group of people that you could affiliate yourself with. Um, it's hard to connect with people when you are not being your full self, right? So again, it's like the risk of showing my full self seems like it's worth the reward of receiving the opportunities, events, and like relationships that I'm actually aligned with. Now, I led with all of that because being your whole self has its consequences too. Let's talk about it, air signs. So, when it comes to the air realm, you might be a little in your head. You might be frozen. You might be afraid to move forward and telling yourself that you need more information before you can move forward. It's not about information. If it was about information, I would say that. If you were getting the kind of swords that were like 6 of swords, really parse the data. 4 of swords, parse the data. No, this is like you have data overload. You have frozen yourself with like, there's so many options that like now I don't even know what to do. Like almost an embarrassment of riches. When in doubt, lower your swords, take off the blindfold, and just sit there. Because then at least if you're not moving, but you're witnessing, you're available to be noticing like, what's going on inside of me? I'm not analyzing it. I'm not going, what's wrong with me? And when is this going to happen? Am I going to do this? Is this? No, I'm like, I feel really overwhelmed right now. Yeah, it's like right here. Ooh, like feels really tight, or it feels really heavy or cold, somatic. Somatic, not up in your intellect about it, but just being like, God, I feel anxious, and it's like it's right up here and it's swirling and it's cold and it's this and it's that, and you lay back and you actually get into the feeling. And the ironic thing is that as you lay back and you get into the feeling, not the story about the feeling, not your thoughts about the feeling, but actually laying back and getting into the feeling, putting your hands where the feeling is and going deeper into it actually is the way through it. What Spirit is showing me is somebody diving into deep water and like they have to go through like a rock tunnel in order to come up out of the water and get to freedom. So it's like, yes, there's a little bit of a scary moment of like, but I'm going to feel overwhelmed. And that's usually when the Two of Swords pops up, is like, I can't think about it because I'm extremely overwhelmed already to the point of freezing. But ironically, it is getting into these feelings that are hovering in the background outside of her notice. It's getting into the feelings, what's happening inside of me, that is actually going to lead you to a quote unquote solution, or the right next step is actually how Spirit is putting it, because some of you might be putting it on yourself that like, I have to plot the whole journey. I have to know the goal and how I'm going to get there. And they're like, how about where I put my right foot? And what if we brought it right down to there? You don't have to have everything figured out. And you don't have to do it all at once. You're probably overwhelming yourself by setting the bar extremely high in a bid not to have to go outside of your comfort zone. The ego plays funny tricks. Do you know what I'm saying? By the way, my sun is in an air sign. I'm not talking shit. I'm not on a high horse, okay? Okay. Now, finally, Five of Pentacles, I do feel with Spirit saying all of this stuff about like you have to be your whole self, even if it's not all the way palatable, or it's not the most socially acceptable, or you wouldn't want this to be the part of you that everybody sees again at the fancy wedding or whatever. You've got to be you, and it could involve taking an unconventional path. It could involve walking away from certain supports that used to be there, more conventional or more traditional. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are in a conservatively religious family and you realize that like that's not true for you and you don't believe that, this is the kind of feeling that can happen. Yes, I want to walk away, but also I do suffer consequences of walking away. I no longer have that protection or that community because I'm going off in a direction that I feel that I must. And that's something that I feel with this Five of Pentacles. I want to say, I want to bring back something that Spirit was saying during the weekly forecast, which is if your why is strong enough, it will keep you warm. And if your why is not strong enough, then make sure that you're not wandering off in some direction that isn't necessarily where you're trying to go. You're just like, well, not here, so somewhere else. You should have good reasons for leaving. And I think that an unconventional path is, I think that you are walking away from one group or community and walking toward another. One that you can actually have fun with. And again, I just get this sense of like, you're stepping out of something traditional, and it involves stepping into more of your power. As we get weirder, as we get more sense of self, other people can get turned off. You know what I mean? Sometimes we outgrow people and situations because like, hey, I believe in divination now, right? And again, maybe I was raised in like a traditional Christian or Catholic or whatever, something very extremely conservative family, but now I know that this is real. There's a sadness to leaving behind what you know, and there's a joy to finding your true people. And that's something that I feel like some air signs might experience this week, at least if they are willing to embrace their whole self and like put everything into it. That's just something that I hear. If your why is strong enough, you're going to get where you're trying to go. And if it's not strong enough, then just spend some more time feeling, so you can move toward what feels like joy, what feels like fulfillment for you. Even if you're just finding it out, even if you're fumbling in the dark toward it, that is better than sitting still and saying, well, I wouldn't want to be seen fumbling. I wouldn't want to bump into a wall. You would want to bump into a wall if it meant like, oh, and there's the doorknob. Oh, and now I'm where I'm trying to be. Okay? So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Making mistakes is better than making nothing. Okay. All right. Now, finally, let's root down with the earth signs. Let's talk to Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Sun, moon, rising, and dominant earth sign people spirit. What is the elemental through line for the earth signs this week? What do they need to know for their highest good? Love to see it. How about their own element, their skills, their resources, their efforts, Spirit? How are they best spent? How are they best saved? Excellent. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn people. What about when it comes to their mind? What is the climate? What's the vibe? What's the frequency? Love. Okay, okay, okay. Let's talk about feelings, emotions, connections. The realm of the heart. For Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Hey, come on now. And finally, their fire, their energy, their drive, their creativity, Spirit. What is lighting up? Whoa! Did you hear that flick onto the table? That was pretty wild. What a beautiful week. Earth signs. You got real fucking lucky this week. I love to see it. Sun is the main theme for your energy this week. I feel health, I feel vitality, and I also feel I mean, I literally feel like some of you are receiving gifts, like Spirit is talking about, again, like kind of a birthday vibe. I know it's not your birthday, like more than likely. Maybe some Virgos, it's your birthday this week. But I feel like there's a sensation of like, Spirit is also saying they're being very punny right now. They're also saying that some of you are gifted. Like, you are gifted. Please show up and show off. Show off your gifts. Share them with people. There's generosity given and received this week. You really just have incredible cards and pretty incredible cards for flow, for things moving in a positive new direction. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Do you take up the space that you want to and that you deserve? And if you don't, I encourage you to experiment with taking up the space that you want to and receiving the attention that you want to. Spirit is really having me zone in on the sunflowers and the way that sunflowers naturally turn toward the sun and receive and blossom. And they're telling you, you deserve to be seen, to be appreciated, and it's in the cards for you. It's in the cards for you to be seen and to be appreciated. And I feel like you also have the capacity to be generous this week. Maybe because you are also literally receiving gifts, money, Spirit's being punny and saying appreciation, right? Assets appreciate, and we can also appreciate other people and offer them our appreciation. They're saying both kinds of appreciation are available this week. You have a double wands this week because I had pulled a card, and then as I said, I don't know if you could see it, maybe you could, that a second card flicked out onto the table. So when it comes to your fire, here's your one spot of static this week because you have a gorgeous reading. 5 of Wands, and then the 4 of Wands flicked onto the table after it. So Spirit clearly wanted to clarify that you could spend this week kind of mindlessly spending your energy fighting, like batting around ideas. You might, I'm also hearing you could overwhelm yourself a little bit with like ideas and like, I could do this, I could try that. Oh, this person's doing it like that. Maybe if I do it like that, and getting a little bit caught up is one of the phrases that I'm hearing. And Spirit is reminding you that you do your best work. You're an earth sign, right? 4 is a very earth number, square, walls, boundaries. I know exactly how things are going. You do your best work when you are working within a framework. So if you're working without, and this is just what I'm hearing, it's like if you're working without guidelines, and this is one way that they're showing it to me, is somebody who lives on a farm and they get up and they have no guidelines for how they do things. It's just like, oh, I see that the ducks need to be fed, so I feed the ducks. And then, oh, I see that this needs to be clean, and then I clean that. Can you imagine how stressful that would become, and how much bandwidth would be taken up by, I have to be figuring out everything as I go, versus I have a framework that I'm working within. I have a group that I am working with. they help me get things in order. That's not always the way that I see the Four of Wands, but that's what I'm seeing, is some beneficial structure and assistance. And it's joyful. It's very joyful. I mean, let's go right here. It's very joyful. I feel like working with people this week, and I say working, hanging out with, making art with, making money with, whatever you're doing with people. There could be some really wonderful outcomes this week, and just a feeling of like, I am surrounded, I am seen, I am loved, like I am rewarded and awarded. I am able to be generous to others and I receive generosity in return. It's a very cyclical, flowing, beautiful kind of energy. So I feel like you're showing up at your very best. And even listen, oftentimes when we come to the realm of the mind, when we come to the realm of the swords, it's like this is where the difficulty or the static. Not this week. Six of Swords, again, movement. Sixes are about flow. Things going from chaotic or conflicting in the fives into smoothness. So I wish that I could, my short-term memory does not work like that. I wish I could remember your reading from last week, but it feels like there is clarity, there is movement, and there is definitely a feeling of like I'm in the right place at the right time. That's something I'm hearing very loudly. I'm at the right place at the right time. Don't hesitate to receive. Don't hesitate to ask if you need something. And also, don't hesitate to give. If you have something to give and you know that there is someone who has a genuine need and you see what they're doing and you appreciate them, give to them. That energy will come back around. That energy will come back around. Spirit is singing the fucking Mary Tyler Moore theme song. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have a town, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. Da, 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 da. And I throw my hat. Anybody? No? Okay, that's all right. I'm cool with it. Thank you all for being here. That brings us to the end of our forecast. Take care on this eclipse day. Take space, take time. Maybe like pour yourself a lovely beverage, light a candle, put on some music, and let yourself drift on this eclipse energy, okay? Just see what shows up. You don't have to push to make anything happen. This is a divine realignment. Take it for that, okay? Cosmic chiropractic. Okay. Oh, it was a little rough for a second there. It's better now, okay? Okay. Sending y'all much love. Thank you, as always, to the mods. Thank you so much. I see you doing your work, and I appreciate you so much. One day, they're going to figure out that that incel chat is elsewhere and that they can find it by the stench. But until then, I appreciate y'all for keeping things beautiful. Thank you, thank you. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.